Hello, everybody. My name is Mark Hilliard. I'm a master here on the Arcanum, and this evening we're going to do Robert Waltman's Level 4 critique, and he's given us a group of really nice images. I'm really excited to go over these with him, and it's going to be a fun evening. So we're going to jump right into it here. I'm going to like to introduce you to Robert, and he's going to tell us a little bit about himself.
Hello all, I am Robert Waltman. I've been into photography since I guess the mid-70s. A cousin of mine stuck a camera in my hand and actually was in Washington, D.C., and that's kind of where my journey began. I got into processing black and white and printing my own photos in the 80s. And then in the 90s, life kind of got in the way. We moved, and I lost the dark room, and so I kind of got out of it. It was just around the time that digital was on the horizon, and at the time, I thought that once it was all digital, that all my old gear would be useless. So I sold everything. Big mistake, because I had some good glass, and I had all that. It was all Nikon stuff, and so now I'm rebuilding everything from scratch. And actually, I was watching a tech podcast a couple of years ago, and I saw Trey Ratcliffe on it. And I can't even tell you exactly what he said or whatever, but then I researched him a little bit, and I started looking more into it, and that's kind of what spurred me to get back into it more and more. And so here I am today. I'm just, I'm enjoying it and looking to get better.
Wow, that's a great story, and I love the fact that you came from that film background. It is just so bad that that's all gone.
Yeah,
the film is making a recurrence in a big way.
Yeah, actually, if I had the space to make a darkroom now, I would do it.
Yeah,
just for the experience. I used to love, the processing part and the printing, the dodging and the burning and all that kind of stuff involved. The smell of the chemicals, the paper. I mean, it was just, I loved it. But,
Yep.
Yep,
I myself still do this. I do 12 to 20 rolls of 120 a week and process them right here. So, all right. Well, thank you for the introduction. I'm going to jump right in and share the desktop, and we're going to go right into your images.
Yep.
All right, so everybody should see my desktop at this point.
Yep.
And if you would you please tell us about each of these images? And I'm going to, here we go. Here's number one.
Okay. This was taken at a place that we stay at every summer in Ocean Grove, New Jersey. The hotel is directly across the street, and this is taken from a second floor porch. And my favorite time of the day in the summer down there is around 5 o'clock in the morning, between 4:30 and 6, just as the sun comes up. And this was taken before the sun hit the horizon. So it was around 5:30 in the morning. And I was just trying to capture the tranquility and the peacefulness of what it's like there before the crowds come in.
Okay. Well, I think you certainly achieved that. Can you tell me how long the exposure was, please?
Off the top of my head, I'm sorry, I can't.
Oh, that's all right. We'll look at it in a minute, all right? But no, you've done a good job with this. It's got to be at least, I don't know, 15 to 30 seconds, depending upon the...
It's definitely in that range. I just, as an aside, all those pictures, well, these specifically, I usually use bulb, and then I just time it on my watch, or I used to anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take multiple exposures and find the best one.
Okay. All right. Yep. Well, I really appreciate long exposures. It's one of my passions in my own photography. So to see you have given us too in this group pleases me. I like everything about this. I like the fact that you've got a nice strong foreground with the grasses in the front and this small dune. Then we have the interlying area of the beach going down to the lifeguard chair laying down on its side. And I like the lifeguard chair. The fact that you can read it is a really, really big plus.
Yeah.
Then a bit of sand after that. You've placed the chair on the PowerPoint. I like the treatment of the ocean. Now, was it your vision to have the ocean completely smooth or to have a little bit of texture in it?
I did want to have a little bit of texture. I liked how the waves were coming in. And, you know, down there at 5 o'clock in the morning, the waves are almost non-existent. It's amazing how it changes throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
So in the mornings, it's just these, you know, little swells that come in, and it just looks so peaceful.
Okay, yeah, no, it does. It looks really, really nice. One of the things that I notice is that, and while there might be a slight hill or rise here, my eyes are drawn to this. And the waves, they don't come in even for sure. So the waves may be coming in more on the right-hand side of the image to the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless of the reason, this solid line of the wave-sand interface really is kind of angling down on the left-hand side. And it's just such a small item that is hardly worth mentioning. But it's the first thing that I notice when I look at your image, that there is a visual tilt that might be implied more than it is real down on the left-hand side.
I think I did try to correct for that.
Okay.
And
it might need, you know, another degree or two of rotating the image.
I might have went too far, because when I did, you see the tracks in the sand?
Yes.
Then they kind of look cockeyed. It just, this was the right balance at the time. But I will try it again, though.
All right, it's like I said, it's not that big a deal, because as we all know, the waves, they don't come in even. They'll come in 10 feet further, you know, 20 feet apart.
Right.
And that too will give that impression of the skewed horizon, when in fact the horizon may not be skewed at all.
Right.
But we have a tendency as humans to look at that line and go, oh. We tilt our head when we look at it to try and bring that straight. And it can be an optical effect that it looks angled when it is in fact not.
Right. Okay.
And we can't judge it by the steps up into the chair, because the chair could be laying on a slight incline as well. Yeah. I like the image. It's very peaceful. It's subtle and soft, and that all works for me. I would like to see a little bit more definition of the foreground, the sand with the tracks, and the chair. Okay. All right. A little bit of lightning perhaps here in the green. Okay. Not much, just subtle. Mm-hmm. A little bit of structure here in the sand. This works very, very well up here in the ocean, what you've done. And slight brightening of the chair here, especially the surface where he sits or she sits. Okay. So that lifeguard off duty pops out. Okay? Okay. And if you don't mind, I am going to actually take you to your image.
Sure.
And I'm going to show you a before and after. But then I want to actually, let's just not even do that. Let's get rid of the after. And let's just make some real minor changes to it here, okay? Just so subtle that they become very hard to notice. You use the Nick filters, correct?
Yes and no. I mean, I have them. I use them on occasion. I don't think I use them on this particular image.
All right. Well, I'm just going to go through this real fast. I'm just going to put a control point on this grass right here in the center of the foreground. I'm going to just ever so slightly brighten that, not very much, add a bit of structure to bring out the individual blades. And so I'm not going to make hardly any changes at all. And then I'm just going to carry that theme through. We're going to lighten up the corner a little more because it is your anchor point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And it just a slightly subtle change. Okay?
Okay.
And then I love the sandy beach. This has got so much texture in it. Excuse me. There's so much that we can do here. But I'm just going to put a control point here, and I'm going to add a little bit of, just a slight amount of texture through structure, okay? And then I'm going to expand that out to encompass the entire beach. And then I'm going to go down to the chair real quick. And I'm going to, now the chair requires a little bit more work to bring out the white because the color areas around it have a lot of white in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to lighten it. I'm going to add a little bit of structure and maybe just a bit of contrast. Because I want that lifeguard off duty just to jump out at us. Now it did change the ocean, so I'm going to drop 4 anchor points with no edits in it around it to bring that back all to the same. Okay.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Oh, you didn't know about? Okay. Yeah,
No.
because you'll notice that the chair itself has very similar colors of the swell breaking here on the beach. And as I changed the chair, I changed the brightness and the coloration of the water behind it.
Right, I realized that. I meant that when you dropped those 3 anchor points without changing anything, that it changed it back. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, it does. And then one other thing you might consider, since we're just working on the surface of this chair here, okay, is look and see what happens if you desaturate that. See how it tends to isolate the color on the seat, and it's only affecting the seat because the rest of the wood has red tones to it that make it different for the selection point.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And that might work. It might be too much. Let me bring some saturation back. Yeah, a little bit works there. Okay, and just like I said, subtle changes. And that's all that I was talking about. What happens if we brighten the beach just maybe a slight bit so that we have more of a stair step. Now let's look at that. All right. Yeah, see, I like it that this lifeguard off duty leaps out into my face. The softness and the slow rolling surf, the fact that the sun's not up, everything's subdued, but yet I get to immediately read this lifeguard off duty. We know that this is off hours.
Right.
So there it is before, there it is after, and it's slight, and it might be too much of an adjustment to it as well. You as its author, of course, have an artistic vision, and you have to decide whether or not this fits within your artistic vision. But what I am telling you here, or suggesting to you, is having these contrast range changes between the foreground, the midground, and the background will give us a set of stair steps that draw our user's eyes into the image and take us up through it.
Okay.
And I'm thinking now that the lifeguard on duty part here needs to have a little bit more color in it now that I've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay? I think that you did a great job on this image. It tells a good story.
Thank you.
And I love everything about this. And the changes that I suggested were just minor. And this is a very, very pleasing image.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you, I'd actually give you 2.5 on this, but I have to go whole number, so that's going to get a score of 2.
Okay.
Boy, I like this. This was a good vision on your part, and you made it happen. You looked at the scene, you used your camera as a tool, and you made the image and your own vision. So that works very, very well for me.
Thank you.
Okay. This one, please. Give us a little bit of background.
Okay, well, this is the Freedom Tower in New York, Lower Manhattan. It's on the spot where the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers used to stand. And from where I took this, we actually used to live in the town. It's Hoboken, New Jersey. And obviously it's on the Hudson River. And, you know, the Freedom Tower is okay, but the Twin Towers were just so iconic, and I guess for so many years, for me, there's like an emotional connection there. So I just wanted to capture the Freedom Tower as best as I could, now it's the shining star of Lower Manhattan. And so I don't know if that makes sense, but that was my goal.
Oh, no, it does. And you did a very, very good job of capturing it. Now, I saw your raw image of this, and I know that this is a crop in of the skyline.
Yes.
And it's a pretty good crop in. But that doesn't matter because you've achieved your goal here. I mean, it does come across as the shining star. And there are filters that you can get for Photoshop, and you could have made this red light on the top of the tower give us a red starburst too.
Right.
Okay. But this is just perfect. The tower itself is a little soft, but it's such a crop in that could be from a slight shake to the wind moving you a little bit, walking on the ground. There is nothing that you could do about that.
You really see softness in there?
I do. Let me zoom in here. Now, when I'm zooming in, everything looks very, very sharp. As you can see. But when I'm looking at it on my screen, this whole area here just it has a distinct soft. But again, now that you've questioned me on that I see that is an optical illusion, because when I zoom in and I look at this, everything is tack sharp.
Yeah, that sucker's sharp.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And again, I'm looking at this in.
That was one of the reasons that I cropped it the way I did.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now look at here. As I display this in Photoshop, you see the difference?
Yes.
And how this looks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I've got to stop using Bridge to display your images. That's just unfair to you guys. Okay. This image is just perfect in all regards, and this is a solid, strong 3.
Thank you.
This is one of the better. And look at the top. Do you see this up here? See the starburst?
Yes.
Did you do that, or did that just happen?
That's the lens.
Okay. Great job.
Really, I didn't. In all honesty, I did very little to this other than some contrast, some brightness adjustments, a little bit of sharpness. But for the most part, this is pretty much straight out of the camera.
Yeah. How long was the exposure? Let's go look and see. 9 at 20 seconds. Okay, that's a pretty long exposure, so that worked out very well. Look at that.
I was hoping to be quite honest, I was hoping to get a better look on the river itself, and I just didn't care for what I got.
Okay.
I'll just be honest.
Yeah, no, I love everything about this. I love the vapor coming off the roof here in the wind. A wonderful star here.
Mhm.
And I noticed a green star over here that I really, really like. And you're right, it makes the city look like a jewel, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a wonderful image. Congratulations on this.
Thank you.
That's one of the better images that I've seen of the city. All right, let's open these up in Photoshop now. Okay, a little bit of info about this, please.
Okay, so this is the hotel that I was talking about in the first image that we stay at. And the place is about I think it's around 300 to 400 years old. It's been there for a very long time. Other than some cosmetic work and bringing the place up to code, it's very, they've kept it the way it's been for so many years. And I don't know, some famous people stay there. I don't know who, it doesn't matter. But the place has this feel of history. Um, you can almost feel sometimes like other people that have been there might be hovering around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would just imagine how people over many, many years, and I don't know how long these chairs have been there actually, but how different people and at different times sat in those chairs and just watched the beach and the surf or the people walking by or whatever. And it just, I don't know, it just had this feel for me, so I just snapped that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, that works. That's a common theme down here in the South. Rocking chairs on the porches of the plantation houses.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always soothing, and they always leave with a sense of wonder as to who has sat there.
Yeah.
Just as you talked, I couldn't help but feeling the same curiosity and emotions that you did. I love that you have everything squared up. I like the image. I think this works very well in monochrome. I don't think this would work in color at all,
No.
nearly as well as you've done here. But there are a couple distracting elements. The chairs, which I think you meant as your main subject, correct?
Yes.
Unfortunately, my eyes are drawn to this railing down the stairs. And from this particular vantage point, there's not much that you could do about that. It's there, it's part of the scene. Perhaps shifting more to the right and placing the chairs kind of in front of you, and you're kind of looking at them from an angle from behind, seeing the rockers, and then down the stairs, then this probably wouldn't be nearly as a distraction as it is now. You follow my logic? Shift our vantage point over here in the lower or the mid left-hand side and shoot a little bit towards the sides and the back of the chairs at a downward angle this way if you had the room, and you may not have had the room.
Yeah, I don't think there actually is, but next time I'm down there I will check it out.
The sky is the brightness of the sky is overwhelming, and it's a distraction also from the main subject in the scene.
Okay.
But like I said, sometimes you get the bear, and sometimes the bear gets you. And in this case, you just didn't have any options, and you're forced to take the scene before you. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we just can't change them. One of the things that you might have done is tried to blur this area out a little bit more. Again, Nick Vivisa, negative structure. Go into the negative direction on the structure, and it's like opening up your lens another stop.
Okay.
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 But boy, I sure do like the black and white treatment to this. I think that's wonderful. And another slight negative to this is the fact that I can't see the rockers of the chairs.
Right. I kind of had no option there. This
Okay,
was
yeah,
this was as far as I can get.
yeah.
You know.
You can't knock the wall out behind you.
Yeah.
Okay. But I love the concept. You did make it happen. It invokes a sense of wonder of history, who's been there, and what is it they're looking at down here. That sense of mystery really works for me. Okay,
Thank you.
you vignetted this corner. That takes away this as a distraction. And like I said, unfortunately, there's just nothing you can do about the railing, but it is kind of in your face.
Okay.
I'm going to give this image a 2.
Okay.
And perhaps when you get back there again, maybe you could investigate if there's another angle you could take on the chairs. How big was this space?
Uh,
From this wall here to the back wall behind my back.
Maybe 20 feet.
Well, maybe with a wider angle lens.
Yeah. Yeah, with a wider angle lens, I could definitely capture more, but I think I had my 7200 on there.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, so that explains everything.
Yeah.
Then. Okay. Okay. Yeah, and when I travel, I don't take a lot of lenses with me either. So
Right.
we are stuck with the tool that we have, and if it's a hammer, the world looks like a nail, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Very good. All right. Tell us about this one, please.
We have a backyard that is just full of different flowers and all different plants and everything. And so I went back there just to see, what I could catch or whatever. And this actually sits in a pot, and it's about maybe 3 feet off the ground, approximately. So looking at it, I figured the only way to capture it would be from the bottom looking up. And I specifically, it was the sun was it just hit right where this was just what I was trying to get, what I got. And that's it. It's just a local plant in a pot in my backyard.
Okay. Yeah, we all shoot flowers in our backyard. I really like the backlighting of these flowers. I like the fact that it makes them glow like they were little lamps. Normally, I would say that this bright point of light would be very distracting. When we're doing close-up or macro work, we're always saying sweep the edges, keep the edges clear of bright distractions or limbs poking in or something distracting. But this tells a story, of morning light, backlit blossoms. I love the look of the lamps. You've got a good bokeh going back here, so this is all blurred out and not too very distracting. I like this, but I think I would have liked a little bit tighter crop on it.
Okay.
This is nice, but this doesn't give us any additional emotional content for the image. It's not a distraction, but it does not add to the image at all, this space over here. Maybe a square format might work, or perhaps something along the lines like this. See what I'm saying here?
Yes.
And we lose this area here that doesn't add anything to the image whatsoever. Let's.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I would leave the light in there. That actually helps. That works for the image. But a tighter crop, I think, would improve this image a wee little bit. All right.
Okay.
We're gonna give that one a 2, and yeah, go out and shoot some more in the backyard. That's a worthy subject.
Thank you.
All right. And now let's look at this one. Tell us about this image.
Okay, so my wife and I went on a hike up in New York State, couple of weekends ago, and one of the reasons that we went was because I knew the stream was there and I wanted to capture motion. So it was a hike, getting to this spot. I actually had to traverse a whole bunch of little rocks and big rocks. I was actually in the middle of the stream. It's about 30 or 40 feet wide at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was up there with my camera, my tripod, trying not to kill myself or break my neck or whatever. But it was fun taking it. Oh, you see what I got?
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful image. I love the low angle on the water. Most people don't think to do that, and you got down nice and low. And the fact that you're in the stream, I hope you were careful, but that really adds visual impact to this. And you've made this set of small rapids, this cascade, the main part of the image. We have a little bit of trees in here as a supporting actors in a great story. This is a stunning image. Your depth of field is good. Your crop is perfect. You couldn't have done any better on your composition. If this is just lovely.
Thank you.
It is a little hot in some spots here. Maybe 2/3 of a stop too bright here and here. All right, but that's a minor pick.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do things to improve this a little bit, not too terribly much.
Right.
You could do something with the moss on the rocks. This area here, see the face of this dark rock?
Yes.
If we would just brighten just the moss, just a little bit like that, and add a little bit of structure, that adds an awful lot to that.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, and now let's go over here and let's look at this one here. Even though it's in the shade, we can add a highlight to it. There's some here, and there's a little right down here in the front. Okay, and just that little bit of change makes a big difference. Tone down that water there just a little bit. The same here, so that it's not pure white. Okay. And notice this area here where the water is flowing over this rock, and it's not very. The water thickness is pretty shallow, right?
Yeah.
Look what happens if we add a little bit of structure to this versus this. Versus this.
Okay.
You can add a little bit of saturation there, and it all works very well. This spot over here as well. As the water flows under the rock here, maybe add a little bit of brightness there. See that? We don't want to detract from the main stream.
Right.
But we now know that this is still part of the flow over here. Okay?
Okay.
And then the last thing, this is a major component of your scene. But yet it's dark and it's subdued. Maybe adding a little bit of structure to this, the micro contrast itself, see how it lightens it?
Yes.
A little bit of bring up the shadows just a wee bit. And let's just copy this around and put one down here. Let's see what we can do in here if there's any data in there. Yeah, there's a little bit, but you don't want to go too much there. This is, and these things are just small suggestions, okay? On an image that's already a perfect image, just doing these little things can add quite a bit to it. And I'm going to show you a before and after here now, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Simple things.
Yeah.
Paying attention to the details. Okay, so There's the original image, which is stunning. It's a solid 3 image. You get the 3 just for your original work.
Thank you.
But look at the change out by just bringing up the moss and this area of the water here and toning down these 2 big bright spots.
Yeah.
What it does is it imparts an almost 3-dimensional effect to the image that makes us want to walk in and wade in the water and get wet.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I have another edited version of this where I really darkened out most of the greenery, the trees in the background, and except for those really bright, like 3/4 to the left, all the way in the back there, you see the those and the ones on the very top. I left those real bright. Maybe I'll email it to you, or I'll upload it to the folder, and you can take a look at it and just tell me what you think.
No, I love the trees. The trees just add to the depth of the image. In fact, what I should have done is I should have brightened up this green between these 2 trunks. Here and here, I should have brightened that up maybe 3/4 of a stop.
Okay.
Because we've got this series of steps that's drawing us visually into the image. We've got the triangle happening here with the stream. Okay, we've got a good line coming in the diagonal. And then we've got across the top, we've got these steps moving from the right hand across to the left. Dark, light, all the way across. That is another set of steps.
Right.
I really love the 3-dimensionality that you've presented us here with this image.
Okay.
And let's turn the edits off because that's still there.
Yeah.
All right? You still have achieved that. But with these small, tiny edits, it even adds more to it.
Yeah. I can see that.
Okay? This is by far my favorite of the 5 that you have provided us.
Thank you.
With the second being the skyline, okay, of where the towers were. This is just stunning work, Robert.
Thank you.
And it makes me very happy to share these with you. And you did a fantastic job.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so let's get out of here. Let's blow out of here. We're done here. Let me bring my Hangout back up and turn us back on so I can look at you all. Wow, that's really, really good work. I am just pleased as pie, as we say down here in the South. You really nailed this. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
I think that everybody that looks at your images will agree that you nailed it. Okay?
Thank you.
So everybody, please take the opportunity to unmute your mic. And if you have any input for Robert, now is your time.
It's a great job, Robert. I just hope, since like we spoke about before, that we get to spend some time with each other, since we live near to each other, and I can see you work in person.
Sure, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's always a nice deal when you can get together and shoot as a group. That helps build the friendships, camaraderie. But more importantly, it allows us to share our secrets.
I need secrets.
You see, now that puts me on a disadvantage.
It does. Yeah, me too.
So maybe we'll meet up somewhere around the middle, maybe Texas or something, so that we can all get together and have some shoot around.
Well, we will be putting together some group shoots from time to time as we move on.
I just wanted to take the opportunity to tell Robert, I know that we've been talking about our photos a lot of time, both inside and outside of the cohort, since we got in almost together.
Yeah.
Those are amazing pictures.
Thank
You know, we've talked about them. I think we've logged many hours, both of us, together,
Yeah.
talking and exchanging ideas and everything. Those were amazing photos.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Two comments for you, Robert. Anytime you want to shoot stream scenes like that, I will let you drown, so to speak, in Tremont and Greenbrier in the Great Smoky Mountains. It's about 12 miles of nothing but what you just captured there.
Okay.
you can pick and choose. You'll get so sick of those scenes, you won't know what to do. But
Well,
it's an awesome spot. So I love that one in particular. And I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. I just love the solo lifeguard chair. And my only comment would be, I think it could be kind of almost like a still life, cropping out the foreground and just leaving the chair, the beach, and the beautiful ocean behind. And just kind of having that single subject there. That could be another wonderful, wonderful image. Sort of looking fake, but in a real world, if you will.
Yeah.
So great job.
Thank you. I'm going to try that, see what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, great job, and I appreciate all of you coming.
Was that Pam?
I miss the East. I grew up there. And I've been out here in the Midwest for the last 20 years, and makes me homesick.
Well, I thought all you hippie mamas lived out, out west, in communes.
I wish.
Yeah.
I've been there, but the computer tech job my husband took is in the Midwest.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming and sharing the time with Robert. It's always good if we can support each other in every one of our endeavors, and the critiques are no different. Let me stop the broadcast.